This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather and Connie Chung.
Good evening. 20,000 U.S. troops watched over another day of looting and shooting in Haiti today.
Today was the third anniversary of the military coup that ousted elected President Jean-Bertrand Aristide. Aristide's supporters took to the streets to call for his immediate return, but the march erupted into street battles with armed supporters of the military. At least 5 Haitians were killed. CBS News correspondent Bob Simon is on the scene in Port-au-Prince.
The day began on a solemn note this anniversary of the coup. A memorial mass was celebrated in the Cathedral of Port-au-Prince, commemorating the thousands murdered by the regime over the last 3 years. Outside the church, the mood was far from mournful. There was a sea of people preparing to flow towards the cemetery to stage a mock funeral for the dictatorship. This was their day, the last anniversary of the coup, with the generals still in power. When Americans passed through the throngs, they were greeted as conquering heroes. Security, the people shouted. You brought us security.
The demonstrators took all the people with them, or so it seemed if you stuck to the parade route. But just around the corner, it was another story altogether.
Here, members of FRAP, paramilitary supporters of the regime, gathered, armed with rocks, machetes, nail-studded clubs, Molotov cocktails, and automatic weapons. Anyone who ventured into their territory was made to feel most unwelcome, whether he came on foot or on a motorcycle. Haitian police reacted by leaving the scene. Aristide supporters marching by a block away threw some stones. The FRAP people replied by opening fire. An American photographer was hit in the head. Then they shot a man point blank, right through the forehead. They shot him, but that wasn't enough. 20,000 U.S. troops were in country today, but there wasn't a solitary soldier anywhere near where this was happening. 2 American photographers, Chris Morris and Peter Turnley, took him to an ambulance, and while they were carrying him, the killers got in a few more blows. The man made it to the hospital. He did not make it through the afternoon. U.S. officials who would not identify themselves were on the scene, reporting back to someone, but their reports brought no U.S. reaction. So it continued. A masked FRAP man gave us the thumbs down sign, indicating he'd killed someone else. To cure any skepticism, he took us down an alley to see his handiwork. There were 2 bodies there. And as the next act in this theater of the grotesque, FRAP members released doves from a cage and called for peace. Some of their colleagues weren't faring so well. The lucky ones were picked up by Americans, arrested but alive. At least 2 others were not so lucky. Americans were also busy watching poor people loot a warehouse today. They confiscated a couple of knives and explained their mission.
Our mission is to protect Haitian violence.
But that's not where the violence was happening. Not here, not at the intersections or the gas station or the movie theater, which Americans were also protecting. As the afternoon wore on, uniformed and ununiformed thugs of the regime continued their reign of terror, while those doves lay dying in the streets of Port-au-Prince. Bob Simon, CBS News, Port-au-Prince.
The number of U.S. troops in Haiti is now more than 20,000 and climbing. More will go in this weekend, and the Pentagon says no upper limit has been set. The rapid escalation has set off alarms in Congress, but President Clinton put out the word today that he's pleased with the mission so far. Correspondent Rita Braver is live at the White House. Rita?
Connie, President Clinton has been getting frequent updates on the Haiti situation. Aides say the violence is regrettable, but it's expected.
There was no guarantee that there wouldn't be some violence, that this was always something that was not going to be easy. But I think by and large the progress has been good, and the president is pleased with that.
Haitian President Jean-Bertrand Aristide met with senators who will go on a one-day fact-finding mission to Haiti tomorrow. Aristide said he has taped a message to be broadcast in Haiti, urging his followers to move toward reconciliation.
And I wish my speech will help them keeping calm, cool, instead of spraying the same sad image around.
But the violent episodes and the news that the U.S. is deploying 20,000 troops in Haiti rather than the 15,000 announced last week set off alarm bells in Congress.
I'm extremely concerned about mission creep in Haiti. Additional troops only add to my concerns. It is imperative that we get our young men and women out of harm's way.
I firmly believe that we ought to establish an end date for this operation with a funding cutoff.
But the administration continues to insist that setting a firm date for withdrawal would undermine U.S. efforts to maintain a lasting peace in Haiti, that anti-democratic forces would simply lay back and wait for the U.S. to go home, Connie.
Rita, is the administration embarrassed about having to increase the number of troops on the ground so soon?
Well, what they say is that it would be more embarrassing if they didn't. They are well aware that the United States remembers what happened in Somalia when this administration was accused of not sending in enough soldiers to support those who were already there. They say they are determined that that will not happen again, Connie.
Thank you. Rita Braver at the White House.
U.S. and Japanese negotiators are meeting in Washington tonight trying to beat a deadline. President Clinton is giving Japan until midnight to agree to open its markets to more American products. Otherwise, the president could set the wheels in motion for trade sanctions. As economics correspondent Ray Brady reports, the stakes are crystal clear.
American-made glass. It could help set off a trade war. This glass is some of the best in the world, but try to find more than a few panes of it in these Tokyo office buildings.
We've been working to establish a foothold in the Japanese market for 5 years now with nothing to show for it.
Get tough trade talks between Japan and the U.S. broke off abruptly 2 days ago. They resume late this afternoon with Tokyo facing a deadline midnight tonight to agree to buy more American-made goods.
The Japanese understand the Clinton administration is quite capable of imposing restrictions on Japanese goods if the Japanese don't open their market for important American products.
But will it work? 2 years ago, President Bush thought he had a deal with the Japanese to buy more.
Auto parts, paper, and glass.
The Japanese really never believed that the Bush administration would retaliate against them.
But President Clinton has promised to create more high-paying jobs. So it's to the administration's advantage to get tough with Japan. Every $1 billion in foreign trade makes 20,000 more jobs.
In our company alone, we would create several hundred new jobs if we could supply the Japanese market to a significant degree.
But how tough can Washington get? Our fighters depend on sophisticated Japanese equipment, and American factories count on Japan's machine tools. So while Tokyo decides whether to bend, the U.S. faces a tough choice too. If Japan doesn't give in, does the U.S. slap it with tough sanctions? Or does it merely administer another slap on the wrist? Ray Brady, CBS News, New York.
Still to come on tonight's CBS Evening News, Congress decides to keep making money the old-fashioned way as hope for campaign reform dies.
And what the lawyers in the O.J. Simpson case want to know about each prospective juror.
If you suffer from allergies, the makers of Dimetapp have some important news. The antihistamine in Dimetapp Extend tabs relieves allergy symptoms better than the leading prescription antihistamine. Think about it. For relief of allergy symptoms, the antihistamine in Dimetapp relieves better than the leading prescription antihistamine. For adult strength allergy relief, remember, Dimetapp Extend tabs relieve better than the leading prescription.
For advice about cholesterol, see your doctor. But to simply get your cholesterol number in about 15 minutes, there's a home test as accurate as those used by doctors. The new Johnson & Johnson Advanced Care Cholesterol Test. No appointment needed.
Meet the women behind new Serenity pads.
Ordinary Maxis weren't designed for light bladder control. They're just not dry enough. But these new Serenity pads, you can see they really stay drier.
New Serenity pads for light bladder control. Drier than Maxi pads.
In Washington, a federal panel is out today with some explosive proposals to deal with illegal immigrants. The panel recommended that Congress act to deny any taxpayer-funded assistance to illegal immigrants except in emergencies. The panel also recommends setting up a national computer registry of Social Security numbers and making employers verify the number of anyone they hire.
One thing Congress won't be acting on this year, long-promised legislation for campaign spending reform. Supporters of the bill in the Senate failed today in a final bid to break a Republican filibuster. But there was plenty of blame to go around, as correspondent Linda Douglas reports.
It is re-election time and the money is flowing. Money from special interest groups who want to make sure they have friends in Congress. Today, once again, Congress refused to reduce the amount of big money going into campaigns.
Every senator knows this system stinks.
After resisting for a year, Democrats finally agreed on legislation that would have reduced money from political action committees and banned huge contributions. But Republicans blocked the measure, arguing it provided for some taxpayer funding of campaigns.
Republicans are proud to stand with the taxpayers and against public financing of congressional campaigns.
Actually, most of the public funding would have come from fees on lobbyists plus voluntary contributions. But while Democrats blame Republicans for killing reform, others blame both parties, including President Clinton, who promised to clean up the system.
President Clinton never made campaign finance reform a priority, and his public voice just disappeared on this.
This year, special interests spent $46 million to defeat health reform and $50 million to kill legislation expanding home communication systems.
There's no doubt that the money that they get in campaign contributions has a lot to do with how they vote. So, in a sense, it's corrupting the system.
On the streets of Miami today, voters put it more bluntly.
You know, money talks. That's bottom line.
We really need to rise up and say, hey, this isn't fair.
And members of Congress may get that message in November's election from voters who think Washington listens more to special interests than to the voices of the folks back home. Linda Douglas, CBS News, Washington.
A tentative settlement was reached today in the strike against General Motors in Flint, Michigan. Thousands of United Auto Workers walked out on Tuesday, causing a parts shortage that forced GM to shut down other plants around the country. No word on what's in the new deal, but the UAW had been complaining about excessive overtime and demanding that GM hire more permanent workers. A mixed day on Wall Street, more winners than losers, but the blue chips were hit again by profit-taking and the Dow closed down more than 11 points.
When the food you love doesn't love you back, try new Maalox assorted tablets. 3 tasty flavors in one handy bottle. Maalox assorted tablets. Ah, life is good.
This helps diagnose arthritis. To effectively relieve the minor pain of arthritis, use this, Advil. Advil works directly at the site of pain. It's fast and gentler to your stomach than aspirin. Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
Rescue me. I'm shivering in cold. Rescue me. My furnace is too old. Can't you see that I'm freezing?
Help is on the way. Just call a Bryant dealer to the rescue and get the Plus 90i. It's the most energy-efficient gas furnace you can buy, and only your Bryant dealer has it. So call Bryant to the rescue.
Introducing the neatest new kitchen appliances, the Black & Decker Space Maker Optima line. A coffee maker that's capable of intelligent thought, even at 7 a.m. A whole new kind of toaster that toasts even the thickest items, so you don't need a fork to dig them out. And a can opener that opens almost any size can, while you do something else. But best of all, they each fold, close, and tuck neatly away. So the Space Maker Optima line looks as good as it works. What a neat idea.
A funny thing happened to them on the way to becoming famous. They met a man named Mark McCormick, and now they're as rich as they are famous. 60 Minutes, Sunday.
They are violently opposed to Middle East peace. But where does Hamas get its money? You won't believe it. Eye on America investigates Monday on the CBS Evening News.
In Europe, searchers today located the wreck of a ferry that sank in a storm this week deep beneath the cold Baltic Sea. Sonar detected the ship about 200 feet down, lying on its side. The ferry sank Wednesday while en route from Estonia to Sweden, killing more than 900 people. Survivors say the ship rolled over and went down quickly after the storm battered in a cargo door and water rushed in.
In Los Angeles, the first phase of jury selection for the O.J. Simpson trial is over. Those who made the first cut will be back in court in 2 weeks for face-to-face interviews. In the meantime, the judge and the attorneys are reviewing the prospective jurors' written answers to hundreds of questions. More about that from correspondent Reed Galen.
The court is so concerned about preconceptions in the Simpson case that 300 prospective jurors have filled out voluminous questionnaires, a written test of their impartiality. 75 pages, 294 questions, from obvious, are you inclined to believe O.J. Simpson not guilty, to specific, do you own any special knives, to personal, have you ever felt so frustrated in a domestic relationship that you considered violence? It adds up to tens of thousands of pages for the judge and the attorneys to interpret.
I mean, it takes you can do about 3 or 4 an hour at best.
It's very difficult to do it on the paper. If you get socially acceptable answers or politically correct answers, it will require you, it seems to me, to see that person face to face.
Personal experiences and attitudes are important. Have you ever given blood samples to your doctor and felt uncomfortable with the results?
They're looking to see whether people trust scientific evidence and how quickly they would trust, or how much duplication of test results they would need before they would trust scientific evidence.
But the art of jury selection is in the subtleties, hidden in people's attitudes about race, for instance, and in what motives a prospective juror may bring to the courtroom. What do you think of a juror writing about a case? Is one of a series of questions meant to get at whether someone may see this as a money-making opportunity.
Neither side really has the power to pick a jury. At most, they have the power to use 20 challenges to kick off those jurors that are particularly bad.
These tests, in most cases, will not be graded pass-fail. Few will be so clear-cut. Attorneys will now study the questionnaires for a few weeks and then, with the judge, begin face-to-face questioning of prospective jurors. Reed Galen, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Word tonight of a promising new technique for preventing strokes in high-risk patients. Government researchers say that surgery to clear out clogging in major blood vessels leading to the brain is highly effective. The 7-year study indicates the surgery perhaps can cut the risk of stroke by half.
Coming up next, Eye on America. Tonight, the case against an abortion doctor. Is it prosecution or persecution?
Fibercon or Metamucil? Both give you the same predictable regularity, the same natural action of fiber. So what makes Fibercon different? With Fibercon, I get my fiber in 2 caplets. Fibercon, fiber regularity that's easier to take.
6 a.m. You can work without phones, without interruptions, but not without fresh brewed coffee. The perfect time for Maxwell House filter pack singles. Fresh brewed Maxwell House coffee. 1 cup at a time.
The way I see it, the last thing people 50 and over should do is stay home sitting on their duffs. You gotta do things you've never done. You gotta go places you've never been. You gotta call 1-800-4CHOICE and reserve a room at any Quality, Comfort, Clarion, or Sleep Hotel, where people 50 and over who don't want to sit on their duffs can get a 30% discount. No, getting older is not for sissies.
We're the nurse that takes care of your mom and the secretary that takes care of your business. We're the people who meet your deadlines and solve your problems and maybe save your life. We're a new kind of temporary help and healthcare company called Interim. And if you don't think of temporary workers as being as skilled or qualified or caring as permanent employees, then you haven't talked to us. Interim. More than temporary help. Temporary heroes.
Warms my soul.
Smitty, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore.
Whoever heard of a cold cereal that made you feel warm all over? Quaker Honey Nut Toasted Oatmeal. Honey and almonds and crunchy little oatmeal oats on top.
Warms my soul.
Hi, Lori. Hi, Mom. Dad.
Quaker Toasted Oatmeal.
That's better.
It's cold,
but it warms my soul.
Every 4 years, the world's best meat
from Rome. The World Swimming and Diving Championships continue Saturday with an eye on sports.
This country's battle over abortion has taken a strange turn in Rockford, Illinois. For years, the abortion clinic there has been the target of continuing protests, some violent. Now, in what some call an attempt to shut down the clinic, the doctor who runs it is being accused in a child pornography case. Bob McNamara has the story in tonight's Eye on America.
In any town, the news would be shocking.
Have you read it yet? Right here on the front page of the Rockford paper.
But in Rockford, Illinois, the headlines opened old wounds.
He's the devil himself.
Dr. Richard Ragsdale and his artist wife had been arrested and accused in a child pornography case.
Put him away for life, him and that woman of his.
Pornography can be interpreted in a whole hell of a lot of ways.
The only evidence in this case is one roll of film the doctor dropped off at a local photo lab. Pictures his wife had taken of their partially dressed 3-year-old foster daughter.
They were playing dress up. I don't really give a damn what any one individual may think of any one individual picture. I know that the pictures are not pornographic.
If my wife was taking pictures like that, I'd know what was going on.
The pictures offended lab owner Brad Lundgren.
I'd put a stop to it.
He called police.
We are the people that determine what cases should be prosecuted and what cases should not be prosecuted.
Prosecutor Paul Logley says he knew the case would be controversial.
We knew early on that no matter what decision we made, we would be second-guessed, and we would be criticized.
Dr. Ragsdale has divided this community for more than a decade. He is the only doctor in northern Illinois now providing abortions, and the clinic where he works long ago became a battlefield.
How's the blood money, guys?
The clinic is housed in an old school, surrounded by security guards, surveillance cameras, fences, and hard feelings.
It's a spiritual war is what it is, a spiritual battle.
Here, the fight has grown so personal.
Save babies!
And gone on so long.
We're trying to save babies, we're going to do it.
That both sides have forgotten what life used to be like.
Well, Doc Ragsdale delivered my first 2 children.
But with the fight over abortion turned vicious, building owner Wayne Webster says the child porn charges
Killing today
are just another pro-life assault.
Killing babies today!
This is honestly the dirtiest, filthiest, rottenest thing that I've ever seen done to any human being in my life. This is a conspiracy to close down a clinic, plain and clear and simple.
What are your personal feelings about abortion?
You know, that really is not an issue.
But a lot of people say it is.
Well, and I'm sure a lot of people do say it is. And I've never hidden my personal views. I'm Roman Catholic, and I happen to follow the Roman Catholic position. And if that makes me pro-life by your definition or anybody else's definition, so be it.
The lab owner says he didn't know who the pictures belonged to when he decided to call police.
There's nothing cooked up here. Nothing was cooked up. And if something was cooked up, who took the pictures anyhow? Does that make it right?
In Rockford's restaurants, people are closely following the case.
Like what to some people's pornography would be art to me.
Since no one here has seen the pictures in question, they talk about their own.
Most people got pictures of their children naked.
I never took photographs of my children like that.
You'd have to see the pictures, I guess.
It all depends on who's interpreting them.
Next week, the doctor is set to appear in court.
It makes a good picture.
And protesters are sure to show up at the clinic.
Killing today!
And people here will undoubtedly continue to point at each other in this divided town where politics, like pornography, is in the eye of the beholder. In Rockford, Illinois, Bob McNamara for Eye on America.
The day I said goodbye to baseball, I promised myself minor arthritis pain wouldn't hold me back. And hey, I gotta use this shoulder. So I use Ultra Strength Bengay with 3 pain relievers. They only have 1. Ultra Strength Bengay. Nothing stronger.
I can't believe this day. The computer crashed, the dinner burned, the cat was lost. I had to tell my boss. His boss's boss was mad.
When you have problems falling asleep, try Maximum Strength Unisom Sleep Gels. They'll help you fall asleep fast and wake up refreshed. Maximum Strength Sleep Gels from Unisom.
Introducing the neatest new kitchen appliances, the Black & Decker Space Maker Optima line. A coffee maker that's capable of intelligent thought, even at 7 a.m. A whole new kind of toaster that toasts even the thickest items, so you don't need a fork to dig them out. and a can opener that opens almost any size can while you do something else. But best of all, they each fold, close, and tuck neatly away. So the Spacemaker Optima line looks as good as it works. What a neat idea.
Concept cars. Those gorgeous cars built for auto shows. Wouldn't it feel great if they built one for you? Someone has. The all-new 1995 Riviera. A new world standard for structural integrity among prestige luxury coupes. Riviera by Buick. The concept car you can drive home.
Your own minor league baseball team. Roughly $1 million. The Big Shaver. Roughly 18 cents. What do they have in common? They're both worth every penny.
When the food you love doesn't love you back, try new Maalox assorted tablets. 3 tasty flavors in one handy bottle. Maalox assorted tablets. Life is good.
The poet T.S. Eliot wrote, April is the cruelest month, but for sports fans in 1994, it's turning out to be October. The World Series is nothing but nostalgia. And today, hockey fans took a slap shot right in the face. The National Hockey League postponed tomorrow's opening night until October 15th, trying to force a resolution of that labor dispute. Correspondent Anthony Mason has the score.
Oh no, not again. Hockey's champion New York Rangers put their pads and pucks away today, their season postponed for at least 2 weeks. The ghost of the dead baseball season still haunts empty stadiums. The World Series would have started right about now.
If baseball's been out for so long, I just don't see how we're going to sell our situation in 2 weeks.
So the ice rinks are now empty. Professional hockey will not open this weekend, and for the first time ever, 2 major sports have been shut down, sidelined in the same season.
This is a war that's being fought over what type of economic system sports are going to be run by.
In both games, he scores! Players oppose salary caps. Owners say they can't survive without them.
This is a league with profound economic problems.
Basketball could be next. Players and owners can't reach agreement, and their season is only a month away.
The chairman of this committee is a damn baseball fan.
Even fans in Congress are fed up.
I'm angered, I'm frustrated, I'm discouraged, and most of all, with other Americans, I'm sad.
For kids who live for their sport, like the mites who take the ice in Greenwich, Connecticut, it's all a bit bewildering. If you don't have hockey and you don't have baseball, it's like, what's happening, do you think?
I don't know. Money.
But now, like baseball, and like the mites in early training, the hockey season looks a little shaky. Anthony Mason, CBS News, New York.
And that's our news. Bob Schieffer will be here tomorrow and Deborah Norville on Sunday.
And Connie and I will see you again on Monday. Thanks for choosing CBS News. Have a great weekend.
Good night.
Experience CBS News.
It's called Hamas, a shadowy Muslim group violently opposed to Middle East peace and very well funded.
Law enforcement officials are now fully aware of the magnitude. Now the question is whether they can contain it.
And where does Hamas get its money? You won't believe it. Eye on America investigates Monday on the CBS Evening News. This is CBS. Attention all stations concerned. There will be an update of the CBS Evening News.